The problem here is Trump has been able to make the argument that this is a political prosecution and that he's being singled out unfairly.
Defend our nation.
You are saying we could have a cure for cancer.
We'll have treatments for many cancers in this decade, and they're going to come from India.
Downside is that it could potentially wipe us out. But let's start with the upside first.
The upsides are absolutely enormous. The potential uses of this are almost unlimited.
I only discovered AutoGPTs about a week ago and started writing about them. And after I started writing about them, Jeff Bezos followed me on Twitter, and all kinds of crazy amounts of people have been contacting us.
The show where we get you the week's biggest stories from around this world. What is the India story? It's the story of the
Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching Gravitas with me, Modi Gambhir. It's been nearly 4 years since the Wuhan virus wreaked havoc around the world. Tonight, we tell you why there is reason to fear a repeat. Another killer pandemic may be on its way from China, and you all should sit up and take note, because what's happening there right now could affect us all directly in time to come. Now, here's hoping that it doesn't. But a mysterious pneumonia outbreak in China has sent shockwaves around the world. According to reports, Chinese hospitals are overwhelmed with sick children who have symptoms of respiratory illness. Is the next killer pandemic on its way from China? What do we know about this influenza-like illness? Should we fear a repeat? That is our top focus tonight on Gravitas. Also on the show for you tonight, do you travel using app-based cab services? What has your experience been like? Is your driver mostly on the phone? Is your driver watching videos while driving? We tell you about a horrific incident. And we also ask you, did you lodge a complaint with the cab company when any of this happened? What was their response? Share your experience with us. Write to us. Join the Gravitas campaign. Help us make these rides safe for you. Use the hashtag #KillerRides and join the Gravitas campaign. We also get to the latest on India's crackdown on deepfakes as the deepfake menace continues to wreak havoc. We also get to the latest on Mission Possible, the race against time to rescue the 41 trapped workers. And on Gravitas Snapshot, a very interesting encounter coming up with the Dutch leader. Tonight, I bring you bad news. News of yet another murderous pandemic from China, a deadly and mysterious form of pneumonia. It has already hit several cities like Beijing, Xi'an. In 2020 and 2021, China's most virulent export, COVID-19, brought the world to its knees. Could this killer pneumonia rock the world now? People are once again falling sick. Hospitals in China are once again overwhelmed. There is a long waiting list for hospital beds. China is once again trying to cover up, and once again things have gotten out of control. I am afraid you should be worried, especially if you have young, unvaccinated children at home or elders with comorbidity. Just have a look at what's happening in China. Its hospitals are crowded with sick children. Visuals coming out of cities like Xi'an showing hospitals packed with parents. Videos on social media showing children doing their homework while receiving intravenous drips in the hospital. It's the same story from capital Beijing to provinces like Liaoning. In many places, in fact, classes have been suspended. And this is a deadly echo of the scenes of the early days of the Wuhan virus. Such is the situation that China is being forced to speak up. China's National Health Commission recently held a press conference. It admitted to a sudden increase in respiratory diseases, but it tried playing down the situation. Authorities said the illnesses could be because of the spread of influenza, pneumonia, or RSV. Basically, China is brushing this aside as a seasonal surge, a regular increase in cases of pneumonia. What is pneumonia? It is an infection, one that impacts the lungs. Those who come down with it have cough, fever, sometimes even breathing difficulties. But what's happening in China is different. People are coming down with high fever. There is lung inflammation, but there is no cough. This is no normal pneumonia, you see. Also, Wuhan virus, remember, began as an unexplained pneumonia. ProMed, an international disease surveillance platform, had raised questions about an unknown virus in late 2019, right before the Wuhan virus jumped borders. The same surveillance platform has once again issued an alert over this mysterious pneumonia in China. Parents in China are worried. They are questioning the authorities, asking if China is covering up another epidemic. Who will answer that question? Is China engaged in yet another cover-up? Travel to and from China is humongous, as we all know. Statistics of international flights. Just a matter of time before this epidemic becomes the next killer pandemic from China. Is that what's happening? Note the timing here. The first case of Wuhan virus is believed to have emerged sometime between mid-October and November. What month is it now? November again. By December 2019, remember, the Wuhan virus spread to all of the Chinese provinces. By February, nearly 90 countries were infected. By March, 90,000 people were infected. People began to die in the thousands. And March is just 4 months away now. There is no time. Now, where is the World Health Organization? Has the WHO raised an alarm? 3 years ago, Dr. Tedros and his team failed us. They were too late in responding to the crisis, too late in declaring a pandemic because they were too busy, you see, covering up for China. Over 6 million people lost their lives to the Wuhan virus. Another virus is waiting to jump borders, it seems. Is the World Health Organization once again covering up for China? Just have a look at what's happening. WHO's office in China has sought information from Beijing. It has also asked for lab results. The office says the undiagnosed pneumonia cases in children may not be associated with an overall increase in respiratory infections at this time. In other words, China is lying. This is not a seasonal flu. Something is not adding up. What is the WHO doing then? Instead of issuing an alert, WHO is calling its notice to China a routine check. We just told you there are videos of children doing their homework while receiving intravenous drips in the hospital. How is this routine? Also, ideally, China is supposed to respond to such WHO notices within 24 hours. But Dr. Tedros is in no hurry to remind China that the deadline is over and lives are on the line. I am appalled, to say the least. I have some questions for the WHO team sitting in China and Dr. Tedros. What have you done to ensure that China comes clean? What have you done to ensure transparency of reporting? Do you have a plan in place? How do you plan to save people from another killer pandemic from China? Because our homes have young children. There are toddlers who have not yet received their vaccine shots. There are young children who have finally been able to go back to school. We have elderly parents with comorbidities. And it is the World Health Organization's job to keep them safe from China's mysterious exports. It is Dr. Tedros's job to ensure the well-being of everyone watching this show tonight from around the world. So get down to work and stop the next killer pandemic on its way from China. On to India now. The great rescue mission in the Himalayas is in its last phase. Any minute now, the 41 workers who have been trapped for 12 days will be out. When it all began, there were 60 meters of rubble between the workers and the outside world, and now only 10 meters of debris separates them from the light at the end of the tunnel. The last 10 meters. This is India's Mission Possible. And we are telling you all about it, getting you the latest over the last 24 hours. The rescue workers have been grinding the Great Himalayas to save the trapped men. They are drilling an escape passage through the rubble. But their efforts came to a halt yesterday due to an iron mesh in the tunnel. The giant machine could not drill through the tough mesh. And let me tell you this, the machine at work is not an ordinary one. It is a heavy-duty, state-of-the-art performance auger drilling machine. It was specially brought from New Delhi on an aircraft for the rescue mission, and even that machine is facing a roadblock. Such is the fragility of the terrain. Despite the hurdle, though, spirits remained remarkably high. There is only one thing on the rescuers' minds, and it is to get their brothers out. Soon there was good news. In a major breakthrough, the iron mesh blocking the way has now been removed. It took iron cutters 6 hours to cut through the mesh. 6 hours. But now it is behind us. The drilling process resumed. Pipes are again being pushed in. Once a pipe is in, it is welded with another. And that is how the escape passage essentially is being made as I speak. Here's what the experts on the ground have to say.
The mountain has been throwing us challenges one after the other. As you are aware that we faced a challenge last night as well. The auger machine's work has resumed and pipes are being inserted. We hope that there are no more obstacles after this. All our teams from SDRF and NDRF and other stakeholders are on standby. We have also done rehearsals on how to get people safely out of such types of pipes or even narrower ones.
But you see, creating the passage is not enough. Workers will have to crawl their way out. Experts estimate that it will take them some 3 hours or more. It will take around 3 hours for the workers to crawl out, and that comes with its own risks. The pipes are being welded back to back, and they are rough around the edges. The sharp joints may cause injuries if the trapped workers crawl through in haste. And that's not it. There are other challenges as well. In the last 12 days, the trapped men have received only a couple of proper meals. They have been suffering physically, of course. Crawling for 60 meters in this condition is a hefty task, to say the least. Not to forget, there will be a stark temperature difference as well between the tunnel and the outside world. And in the last 12 days, the workers have got used to the temperature inside. How will their bodies react once they are out? But the rescue teams have it all planned out. Once the rescue pipe reaches the workers, a doctor with the NDRF or the National Disaster Response Force would go and check their condition. He would also show them how to crawl through the pipes. All eyes are now on the tunnel. People are waiting with bated breath. The whole state, in fact, the whole of India is on its toes. 41 ambulances stand there waiting at the tunnel site to rush the workers to hospitals the moment they crawl out. Stretchers have also been arranged, of course. Stretchers customized with wheels. Doctors have been kept on standby. A separate ward of 41 beds is ready at the community health center. And if it comes down to it, then there are arrangements to airlift the workers to AIIMS Rishikesh as well. Here's what the Inspector General, K.S. Langnial, had to say.
We have made all the arrangements for ambulances. We'll take them from the site to the hospital through the green corridor. As per the doctor's advice, we can also airlift people if those who are trapped are in serious condition. If they need better medical assistance, they'll be taken to AIIMS Rishikesh.
The Chief Minister of Uttarakhand is also at the tunnel site to boost the morale. He had a conversation with the men trapped in the tunnel and those working to rescue them. The rescue operation is now in its most critical stage. It seems the trapped men could come home any moment now, and we will be closely watching all the developments. Are you booking #KillerRides? Listen in to what recently happened to a journalist and his daughter. They were traveling from Pune to Mumbai on the 19th of November, that's last Sunday. The journalist had booked an app-based cab. A car was assigned. The driver had a 4.93 rating. He was supposed to be good. When the journalist's daughter showed signs of motion sickness, the driver voluntarily stopped at a chemist so that they could buy the medicines. Little did the father-daughter duo know that their ride was going to turn into a nightmare. The driver started talking on the phone, yawning. He also started driving rashly. This was all happening on the Mumbai-Pune expressway. Now, if you have been on that expressway, you will know that there are sharp turns and it's always busy. And this driver here was distracted. The journalist writes, I have been able to gather from his conversations on the phone and our own small talk that he had come to Pune after picking up a customer early in the morning, but he said he was okay. The yawning was being induced by the air conditioner, the AC. I asked him to stop the car and splash some water on his face, which he did, quote unquote. This man was obviously worried for his safety and for the safety of his daughter. He even tried to engage the driver in small talk and keep him awake. All he wanted was to safely reach his destination after all. But things were about to go south. There was a truck in the middle of the road. The journalist yelled at the driver, told him to watch out. Bang! The driver went and hit the truck. The car's airbag got activated, hit the journalist's chest. His daughter, who was on the seat behind, was injured as well. The journalist, after being hit by the airbag, was in severe pain. He would later be told by the doctors that the chest has suffered blunt trauma. At the scene of the accident, the cab driver started blaming the truck. He said the truck had braked in the middle of the road and it should not have. Sure, but what about driving safely? The journalist called the cab's helpline number. They said an alternate car would come and pick them up. He received a message saying that the second cab had arrived, but it was nowhere to be seen. And so the journalist dialed the number of the driver that was shared with him. The driver declined his calls. This man was in pain. His daughter was injured. A seemingly distracted driver had hit a truck. There was nothing the cab company could do to get the duo out of the situation and get them to a hospital at the earliest. Authorities came to inspect the damage, but they left. Cars passing by stopped at the scene of the accident, watched the two in pain, and left. The cab company abandoned them. The helpline number operator claimed to be helpless. The journalist was left to fend for himself. Now tell me one thing. If these are not killer rides, then what are they? We are signing up for these deadly journeys daily. With every passing day, these app-based cabs are becoming increasingly popular and increasingly dangerous. The drivers are almost always on the phone, chatting away. Sometimes they are watching videos while driving. Sometimes they are in the middle of video calls. I'm sure most of you have had these experiences. These are Indian roads we are talking about. These roads are busy. There are sudden turns, unexpected hurdles, breakdowns, speed breakers. There are animals on the roads. And these drivers are driving on these roads distracted. What can you do about it except risk your life on these killer rides? If you complain, you are likely to get a polite call or email from the cab company. You will be asked to narrate your ordeal. You will then be politely assured that the company will look into the matter. You will be told that the company deeply cares about your safety and regrets that you have had a bad experience. But what next? The next ride has another driver talking on the phone again. It's a dangerous cycle that does not end with the ride. Everyone who avails these rides will tell you pretty much the same story. Some of our viewers have actually been writing to us. Look at what one of them had to say. They speak on mobiles at times the entire trip. Earlier, I used to check, but now stopped because they get rude and it's unsafe once we are inside the vehicle. Complaining to the app makes no difference. If they were strict, cab and auto drivers would have stopped talking or watching videos on mobiles way back. In the year 2021, over 1,000 lives were lost because of accidents involving drivers distracted by their phones. I would not be surprised if this number has gone up exponentially. Do you know this is a crime? In India, using mobile phones while driving is a punishable offence under the Motor Vehicles Act. A driver can use the phone only for route navigation, nothing else. These drivers are committing a crime, and the app companies are enabling the crime and risking your life with their inaction. Now, do they think they can get away with inaction because they have monopoly in the market? Because the passenger will not have a lot of options but to come back and book another ride with them, the very next day perhaps. We reached out to Uber India and Ola. We sent them a list of questions. We asked them, are you aware of the rising trend of drivers being on their phone during the ride? Question number 2. Is there a procedure for lodging a complaint on drivers who are on their phones during the ride? Number 3. How does the company deal with such drivers? Are they penalized? Can you share the process that's followed? Number 4. What happens if a passenger complains about drivers watching videos during the ride? Is the driver penalized or taken off the roll? Number 5, has your company considered a ban on the use of personal phones for drivers, with an exception for emergency, of course, during an active ride? Number 6, how has the company dealt with complaints on rash driving? Number 7, what is the company doing to avoid incidents of unsafe driving? Number 8, what is the company's policy for passenger safety? Number 9, do you have a timeline for ensuring safe rides in India? We are waiting for a response, a reply from Ola and Uber India. I sincerely hope they do have answers for us because, you see, this is not about bad press or a one-off incident. This is an issue of public safety. Lives are at risk. Lives are being put at risk daily, in fact. A survey conducted in 2020 found that the use of app cabs increased 32% year on year. 74% of millennials prefer app-based cabs over traditional taxis. Surely these numbers also have gone up. The app cabs are making the most of the growing consumer base, and they are diversifying as well, offering insurance to users, even food delivery services. Now, that's all nice and good. But what about delivering on safety first? Isn't that their primary job? Cab companies cannot be abusing their monopoly after all. They cannot be taking us for a ride. It's time to make these #killer rides safe. Join the Gravitas campaign. Next time your driver is on the phone, ask him to put the phone down. Complain to the cab company. Share your experience with us. Post the photos and videos if need be. Use the #KillerRides. Tag the cab companies. Help us in making your ride safe. Join us in making India's roads safe. Moving on for now from killer rides, Iran has unveiled its new hypersonic missile, adding to the unease in West Asia. This new missile is reportedly capable of outmaneuvering some of the most advanced air defense systems in the world. Our next report getting you all the details.
In the turbulent landscape of West Asia, a new development is sending shockwaves. In a region often seen as a tinderbox, Iran has unveiled its new and improved hypersonic weapon, the Fatah 2. Tehran unveiled the improved variant of the missile just months after stunning the world with its first hypersonic missile, Fatah. Going by recent reports, it's a development that could alter the strategic balance in the region. Named Conqueror in Farsi, the Fatah 1 is being seen as a significant leap in Iran's military technology. It's not just any missile, but a cutting-edge hypersonic glide vehicle, one which is reportedly capable of outmaneuvering some of the most sophisticated air defense systems in the world, including those of the United States and Israel. With this advancement, Iran wants to tell the world that it is now a formidable force in modern warfare. But what sets the Fatah 2 apart? Unlike traditional missiles that travel in a predictable arc, hypersonic missiles like the Fatah 2 can maneuver and glide at incredibly high speeds, making them extremely difficult to intercept. The Fatah 2, with its ability to travel faster than 5 times the speed of sound, can change direction mid-flight. This means that even the most advanced missile defense systems, which are designed to track and intercept predictable trajectories, may not be able to catch up or predict where the Fatah 2 is heading. For Iran, possessing such a missile significantly boosts its defensive and offensive capabilities. The missile can reportedly hit targets within a range of 1,400 kilometers, achieving astounding velocities of Mach 13 to Mach 20. This makes it a nightmare for existing counter-missile systems. It also elevates Iran to an elite club of nations that boast hypersonic capabilities. The timing of this unveiling is crucial. It comes in the backdrop of Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's call for Islamic nations to distance themselves from Israel. Amidst the ongoing Israel-Hamas war, the message here is unmistakable. Iran is strengthening its military might, sending a clear signal to its adversaries. Yet, this military breakthrough isn't just a regional concern. Iran's claim of becoming the 4th nation to possess hypersonic technology potentially puts it on par with major world powers. This is concerning to some. No prizes for guessing who. However, there is a caveat. While some experts acknowledge the Fatah 2's reported potential, others remain skeptical of Iran's assertions, cautioning that these claims require verification, with accusations that Iran is notorious for making tall claims in the past. Nonetheless, if true, the strategic implications of the Fatah 2 for the region are considerable. Israel, a long-term adversary of Iran, faces a new and daunting challenge now. The prospect of this hypersonic weapon being deployed against it heightens the risk of a military escalation in an already tense region. The news of Iran's new hypersonic missile is more than a weapon development. It's an overt projection of the country's growing military ambitions, its perceived capabilities, and its potential impact on regional and global geopolitics. As we watch these events unfold, the implications for the fragile peace and security of West Asia are clear. The stakes have been raised, and the path forward is laden with challenges and choices that will define the region's future. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Whenever you place an order on Swiggy or Zomato, I'm sure you pay a delivery fee for it. It's only fair, you would think. You receive your food on your doorstep and you pay a minor fee for it. But do you know who is really pocketing that money? Do you know what is going on behind the scene? It seems a whole lot of corruption, as it has been alleged. That is what Indian media reports say. And if that is to be believed, my question to you is the convenience worth feeding into that? Let me tell you more about it. For all other items in your shopping cart, you pay the GST, that is Goods and Services Tax. Those are the protocols. But for the delivery fee, platforms like Swiggy and Zomato need to do it. Since they are providing a service, they need to pay the GST on delivery charges. But according to a CNBC report, they are not doing their bit. It claims there are serious gaps in the delivery giants' GST payments. According to it, the Directorate General of GST Intelligence has issued a demand notice to both Zomato and Swiggy. It has pulled them up for non-payment of the tax. For how long, you might wonder? Let me tell you, it has been alleged for a good 7 years. From July 2017 to March 2023, reportedly. It has been alleged that none of the two delivery giants paid the GST on delivery fee. So the question is, how much has it been alleged that they owe the tax department? Now, legally, Swiggy and Zomato are liable to pay GST at a rate of 18%. Reportedly, Zomato has not paid 400 crore rupees. That is $48 million. Also, reportedly, Swiggy has a backlog of 350 crore rupees, as in $42 million. Now, that is no little amount. It's hundreds of crores of rupees. What do the delivery platforms have to say? Reports say they challenged the tax department's notion, but on what grounds? WION also reached out and is yet to get a response. You see, Swiggy and Zomato hire gig workers. These workers are paid on a daily basis. The delivery giants say that they pay the delivery fee entirely to the delivery partners. At least that is what they claim. And since these workers are providing the service, it is them who needs to pay the goods and services tax. But since each gig worker is below the threshold of 20 lakh rupees, they are exempt from GST. This is the elaborate argument that Swiggy and Zomato have reportedly have claimed. Now, tax officials, according to the report, do not buy this. Zomato and Swiggy are the service providers. Can merely collecting an item from them make delivery workers a provider? Are the delivery giants simply trying to push the blame to save their cash flow? That's the question that's been raised. Now, the question is also, how long can you go without ordering something from Zomato or Swiggy? And might I add, Blinkit as well. Zomato owns it after all. From a banana to a vacuum cleaner, from a bedsheet to designer kurtas, Blinkit promises to deliver most of the daily essentials that you need. Only recently, a man ordered a Manivar kurta from Blinkit, but don't fall for such posts. He was himself a Blinkit employee, probably promoting his own company. Who knows? First, these platforms would offer you discounts. They would even give you a free delivery or throw in some freebies. And once you are hooked, there is a good chance you would see the prices getting inflated. What you might get for $50 outside, the delivery apps may ask $70 for it. Then there are handling fee, delivery fee. If it's raining outside or there is high demand in your area, then the surge fee. If it's too late at night, then the night owl fee. And if you commit the crime of ordering just 1 or 2 items, then there is a small cart fee as well. Just how many times have you bought extra products, things that you don't even need, only to avail of free delivery? Think about it. It might be a small amount for you, but these platforms are heavily cashing in on it. And if the reports are to be believed, then also they have been accused of corruption. In tonight's segment of Gravitas Snapshot, we want to talk about Geert Wilders. He's a Dutch leader who could become the next Prime Minister of the Netherlands. The results from the exit polls showing Wilders clinching a massive victory, and this is giving Europe major anxiety. Let me tell you why. You see, Wilders is a bit of a controversial figure. He is known for his aggressive anti-Islam and anti-EU rhetoric. Wilders' political party, the Freedom Party, is on the course to win the most votes in the country's parliamentary elections. And this paves the way for Wilders to play a key role in the formation of the next government. In Wednesday's election, his anti-EU party received a resounding victory, a victory that has sent shock waves throughout Europe. So who really is he? The 60-year-old leader has been a fixture in Dutch politics for decades now. Born in 1963 in the Netherlands, Wilders grew up in a Catholic household. He initially entered politics as a member of the People's Party for Freedom and Democracy. However, he parted ways with the party due to what he perceived as its mild stand on Islam and immigration. And then he became an independent lawyer. In the year 2004, he founded his anti-migrant political party named the Freedom Party, or PVV. Anti-Islam policies are at the core of its ideology. And since then, Wilders has lived under tight police protection. A response to the death threats he has received for his outspoken anti-Islamic views. Not just that, he has previously likened the Quran to Adolf Hitler's book, saying both books should be banned. And in the year 2020, a court found him guilty of insult charges for comments that he made about Moroccan immigrants. Even during this year's election campaign, his party, the PVV, has pledged a ban on the Quran, mosques, headscarves. His brand of politics has led to comparisons with figures like Donald Trump and the newly elected president of Argentina, Javier Milei. Wilders' popularity stemming from his problematic and inflammatory statements against Islam. So the question is how did he secure the win? The truth is, few people considered him a serious candidate. Throughout the campaign, he softened some of his controversial positions. He told the voters that wanted to be part of the next administration. His performance in the final election debate was also particularly strong. He exuded more confidence than his rivals. And interestingly, he also toned down his divisive anti-Islamic rhetoric. He even hinted at dropping his proposed ban on mosques, leading his critics to label him opportunistic. And by focusing on economic issues, he promised solutions to the housing crisis, vowed to tackle inflation, and called climate action as a new form of tyranny imposed by The Hague. But some of his more extreme views also came to light. For example, his proposal to restore the Dutch border control, detain and deport illegal immigrants, and reintroduce work permits for intra-EU workers. All changes that could fundamentally alter the EU's DNA. Also, while most European nations have supported Ukraine in the war, this Prime Minister, hopeful, has taken a different stance. He has praised the Russian President Vladimir Putin and rallied against what he calls hysterical Russophobia in Europe. Wilders' party is projected to win 35 seats, but he needs 76 for majority. He has suggested forming a centre-right coalition, But there is no guarantee that Wilders will clinch the top job. A lot now depends on what will probably be a long coalition building process. And one thing is for sure, Wilders' shock win will be giving Europe sleepless nights. A digital menace that is shaking the very foundations of trust in the online world. Imagine seeing your favorite celebrities endorsing products they've never even heard of. Welcome to the dangerous world of deep fakes. But you see, it's not just about celebrity videos. It's a concern that has got the attention of the highest offices in the country. How is India tackling this growing menace of deep fakes? Is technology outpacing our ability to control its misuse? We've got some revelations that may just make you question everything that you see online. Take a look.
Let's dive into the digital dilemma of deepfakes sweeping India, a phenomenon stirring alarm at the highest levels of government. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has voiced serious concerns, labeling deepfakes as a major threat to India. These sophisticated digital deceptions have been spotted in viral videos of prominent Bollywood stars, deceiving millions. But what are deepfakes? They are videos where faces or bodies are artificially altered to mimic someone else, creating false narratives. For instance, a deepfake of Shah Rukh Khan endorsing a betting game garnered over 50,000 views, sparking widespread concern. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi highlighted the potential for social chaos. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology is now stepping in, convening a meeting with social media giants to formulate a comprehensive strategy against this menace. They aim to develop a standard operating procedure to deal with deepfakes. This is a crucial step in regulating this emerging threat. Social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook are the main battlefields where these deepfakes thrive. Meta, the parent company, asserts that any content violating their policies is promptly removed. But the challenge remains daunting due to the ease of creating and spreading deepfakes. This existing legal framework, including the Information Technology Act and IT rules, provides a foundation for combating these digital frauds. However, the effectiveness of these laws is yet to be fully tested. Union Minister of State for Electronics and Information Technology, Rajiv Chandrasekhar, has promised stringent measures. Anticipation builds as he hints at a new framework to be revealed on November 24th, which could mark a significant milestone in India's fight against deepfakes. But what strategies can India employ? From legal frameworks to tech collaborations, the answers are as complex as the challenge itself. Consider global approaches like China and the European Union's mandatory disclosures and South Korea's strict laws against harmful deepfakes. Here's what they have done to combat scourge of deepfakes. In China, strict regulations are in place, requiring consent, identity verification and government registration for any deepfake-related activities. In the European Union, the Digital Services Act enforces removal of deepfakes from social media with severe penalties for non-compliance. South Korea passed laws in 2020 criminalizing distribution of harmful deepfakes, punishable by hefty fines or prison terms. These measures offer valuable insights into regulating this technology while preserving digital innovation. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Our next story is for all expectant mothers who are watching this show tonight. If you are a mom-to-be, you are possibly bombarded with advice from all corners. Some useful, some unsolicited and not useful. Some tell you to avoid all negativity when you are pregnant. It'll impact the baby, they say. Others tell you what to eat, what not to eat, all for the good health of the baby. Some of it is rooted in science, The rest is merely anecdotal. Well, science has delivered a fascinating insight today into the bond between pregnant women and their babies. Are you a chatty mum-to-be? Someone who loves to talk to their baby bump? Talking about what happened during the day, telling them how excited they are? Well, science says that you should continue doing that. A new study has found that chatty mothers-to-be can boost their unborn baby's language skills. So basically, talking to your bump is good advice. Scientists say that there is strong evidence, in fact, the most compelling evidence yet, that the fetus in the womb is actively listening to the mother's musings, to her conversations. The baby is listening to your rants, your gossip, your chatter with your partner, especially as it grows in the final weeks before birth. There has been previous evidence to show that newborn babies prefer the sound of their mother's voice to the voice of any other women. And now researchers from Italy and France have found that any kind of language exposure before birth can help your baby pick up a language with great ease. Research now saying what our ancestors have been telling us essentially, talk directly to your baby bump in the final trimester. And the research has been published in the journal Science Advances. 33 French newborns between the ages of 1 to 5 days old were studied, and their mothers were native French speakers. It was found that the babies showed a preference for the language that their mothers spoke. It also found that babies liked hearing their native language. Hearing this language caused activity in parts of the brain that control language learning. We've all heard of the old wives' tale. Traditional or ancient wisdom has been handed down to us through generations. Your grandmom would probably have told you the same. Share positive anecdotes with your baby. Don't argue with your partner when pregnant. Watch happy films instead of horror films. Well, most of these are junked as superstition, some even impractical and possibly unrealistic, but this new finding seems to hold merit. So yes, talk to your baby bump. Your baby is actively listening. It's Thursday and you are probably busy making your weekend plans. Maybe planning a quick getaway, a Saturday night out perhaps, or staying in with a book and a glass of wine. But what about the next day? If you are someone who has had a hangover in the past, you know how bad they can get. And for those unaware, mostly hangovers come with a headache, fatigue. But what if there was a short way to avoid a hangover? That would mean we know the root cause, right? So what really is the root cause of acute hangovers? More specifically, what is the reason behind acute hangovers caused by red wine? Well, according to research, a particular antioxidant is the culprit. Let me break this down for you. This research comes from what is called the Headache Center at the University of California, San Francisco. Yes, there is a center with that name, the Headache Center. So it's only appropriate that it helps you understand the reason behind those crazy hangover-related headaches. Now, the antioxidant that has emerged as the villain in this story is called quercetin. Grapes have this antioxidant, and we all know that wine is made using grapes. Now, what happens is this compound can come in the way of the body's ability to break down the alcohol, and this leads to toxins accumulating, which can cause headaches. Also, is only red wine to be blamed? What about white wine? Well, red wine contains a higher amount of these compounds. But here's the trick, and not all of you would like this perhaps. Cheap red wine might actually be a better option if you are looking to avoid a hangover. You know why? Because grapes exposed to higher amount of sunlight can, in fact, contain more quercetin. And here's another interesting aspect. A study that was carried out in the year 2022 suggested that depression and stress can actually impact the way you feel after consuming alcohol. And here's something more interesting. Even personality types play a role here. You see, if you are mentally stronger, If you are more resilient, you might be lucky and you may get away with less severe symptoms. But if you have a bad mood before you pick up that glass, it can impact you negatively. According to Dr. Craig Gon, a lecturer at the School of Psychological Science at the University of Bristol, the key here is to personalize your relationship with alcohol. Basically, individual variability in personality and the ability to control attention can predict both the severity of a hangover and the impact that it has on our daily activities. Also, some believe, or like to believe, that drinking more alcohol helps to tackle a hangover. Well, that may delay a hangover, but it will not mean that you can avoid it. So you know what to expect the next time you are drinking. Let's now wrap this edition tonight, leaving you with Gravitas images. Thanks very much for watching.
And like a 5-second video. Yeah.
One person for potato. Potato. Okay.
Wow, the turkey looks great. So, leave my post. Yeah. Smells good. Yeah. Smells great. Smells amazing.
Israel woke up to a barrage of thousands of rockets fired from the Gaza Strip.
Hostilities have broken out between Israel and Palestine, and the tensions that had been gathering steam over the course of the last several weeks